Hello, and welcome to the Old Gen Gamers Weekly Podcast, Episode 12. I'm your host tonight, Toby Barstow, and unfortunately, I'm not joined by anyone tonight. David is currently enjoying a nice little trip away with his partner, and due to some unforeseen circumstances, Mr. Mather will not be with us tonight either. But I'm still going to get a video out for you guys, and I've got a few topics to go through, so it's going to be a little short episode again this week. We've still got quite a few things to go over though. Starting I was about to say most importantly, but maybe not. I've just recently heard that the Oculus Rift, used at its full potential, was going to need 4 USB 3.0 ports, which is going to be 2 for the Rift headset itself, 1 for the touch feature, and 1 for the Xbox One controller, which the Oculus will be shipped with, which is a nice bit of information. But for those of you who are hoping to get one, I'm hoping that you guys have got a fair few spare ports in your machine. Otherwise, you're going to have to be getting rid of a few items just to get that thing running. Just a little unfortunate. A lot of machines nowadays are shipped with quite a lot of USB ports, but hopefully that's not going to be too much of an issue for you guys. I'm looking forward to getting one. Luckily, I could probably just about squeeze it in there with all the other stuff I've got plugged in, so I'm looking forward to testing it out, and I can't wait to get hold of it next year if it stays within its timescale. They seem to be getting a bit funny with ironing out exactly what you need and the minimum requirements to run it, but we'll see what that holds. We've also heard that Kojima has now finally founded Kojima Productions as a solo company, but he's announced that his first game is going to be partnered with Sony for a PS4 exclusive. I don't know how that's going to play out. It might work, it might not. I can't think that many people are going to jump to PS4 from maybe PC and Xbox One to see what it holds. Who knows, though? I mean, this is Kojima we're talking about. He's the guy that will spend years trying to perfect a game. He is a very good developer. So who knows? By the time he's released the game, the PS4 might even be a previous generation console. You know it's going to be a good game. We hope, if his history is anything to do with it. But it'd be nice to see him working with Sony again anyway, despite the fact I'm not a PS4 owner. But it's almost like going back to the old days where Metal Gear Solid was a PlayStation game. There's no sign of what the game could be, because obviously Konami own the rights to Metal Gear Solid. So we've no idea what type of game it could be. There's no idea of a time frame. But who knows? It could be announced very shortly. It could have been something that he's been working on in the background. It's completely up in the air, but obviously we'll keep you guys up to date on everything that's happening. There's also been a new Battlefield confirmed. I'm not overly excited for it, but then again, I don't often get the itch to play a first-person shooter, but I mean, for those of you who are fans of the franchise, there you go. A new Battlefield is going to be on the way. I'm not sure yet if it's going to be Battlefield 5 or if it's going to be another spin-off type game, but who knows. But let's just hope they do much better than they did with that last atrocity that they made, because it was an expansion at best. It shouldn't have been a standalone game, in my opinion. If you disagree, though, speak up in the comments. If you agree, obviously let us know. It'd be good to hear what you have to think about it. But we're now going to move on to a section. Like I said, I'm just going to be quick firing the news for you guys, because it's unfortunate being on my own. It'd be nice to have someone else to have a few discussions with, throw some ideas around, but unfortunately we didn't expect to see this happen. But Final Fantasy VII Remake has obviously been a big thing in the news, and everyone's psyched to see it, and everyone wants to play it. Everybody wants it. Well, I say everybody, it's big, but who knows. But it's going to be released in a chapter-like format, and Square Enix have said that that's due to the size of the game. I mean, come on, who can't fit a game on a single Blu-ray disc? Let alone, I mean, even if they did a double disc set, if it's going to be as big as they think it's going to be. But they've said they're going to do it in chapters because they want to perfect it. I can understand. I'll still probably end up buying it. The issue we've got, though, is for those of you in the UK, this game is in total is going to cost £120. So for you guys in the States, that's going to be 180 US dollars. This game is going to be expensive. And I don't understand why they're charging this much for it. Square Enix are not short of money at the moment. I mean, Tomb Raider is selling very well at the moment. You've got Final Fantasy 11 and Final Fantasy 14, which are their MMOs. They have subscriber bases. They're bringing a huge amount of money every month. I don't see why they need to charge so much for the game. Honestly, I can just see this as a huge money grab option because they know there is a massive fan base that want to play Final Fantasy VII, and they know that they're going to cash in on this one. They are going to easily make more than their money back and a huge amount of profit from this game if they're charging that kind of price. We've also seen in the world that you know that all three of us on the LGM podcast, and I'm sure a lot of you, we absolutely hate microtransactions with a passion, yet they always seem to make their way into the news every single week. And it starts off with Black Ops 3. The game was released, and there were no microtransactions, and it's now recently added them into the game within the last week. There's a little story to go with that where, speaking of, Battlefield and not playing many first-person shooters, I recently got the itch to play a first-person shooter on the Xbox One. And, I had things like Battlefield Hardline and 4 and various other first persons, but I wanted something new and fresh, and I wanted something to play around with. So obviously I looked at Battlefront, Halo 5, and Black Ops 3. I decided to rule out Battlefront despite being a huge fan of the Star Wars franchise. My housemate's an owner of it, and from what I've seen, if you want a jetpack to be able to jump around like everyone else in the game, you have to reach level 13. If you want to be competitive and have a decent gun, there's only one in the game, and you get that for either being a pre-order or for reaching max level. No one wants to grind to max level to get a competitive gun that already 60% of the online player base is using. And if you want to get any cool races or any form of designing your character or editing them, or you want anything interesting to look at, like the alien races, you don't get those until max level either. So it's a huge grind. To get the payoff, I didn't think the hours and hours of grinding would be worth it. So that kind of got ticked away from me. So then I was looking at Halo 5 and Black Ops 3. I've always been a huge fan of the Halo franchise, and I've never been that big of a fan of Call of Duty. I really did enjoy Black Ops 2, which made me, heavily consider Black Ops 3. The thing that put me off was Halo 5 had microtransactions, and those microtransactions could be for guns, vehicles, as well as cosmetics, so I felt it was a little bit game breaking and it looked very pay to win. I've seen, again, my housemate owns that copy, he's been playing it a lot. It looks fun. The online has really captured the Halo online experience still, and it does look like something I'd want to pick up in the future, maybe when it's cheaper. But it looks so pay to win with the fact that the money you can spend on drops that you could choose to grind and not pay any money for contain guns and vehicle spawns, which to me is breaking the game. It throws out the imbalance, and everything that was said about it beforehand, when they had legitimate questions raised about it, they were just shunned and shouldered. And it felt a little too much for me, so I thought, no, I'm not interested. At least, unlike Black Ops, though, you did know from the start that you were getting into microtransactions. But, so I decided, Black Ops 3, there's no microtransactions. The crate system you grind for is purely cosmetic. I'll go for it. And after playing it for a few days, I logged in one day and it was downloading a patch. I thought, okay, no big deal, it's probably just balancing out some of the weapons or something. And I noticed that microtransactions had been added. And like any good business model, they give you a few points for free just to get you hooked. Now, the one thing I will accept with their microtransactions, and I will say it is a good business model for them, is they are not mandatory in the slightest to get an edge in the game. The only thing the points can buy are vials of something liquid that you use to create perks in the zombies game mode where you're working cooperatively. I'm not a big zombies fan, as you can probably tell. And in multiplayer, you can spend money on the rare loot drops, and the loot drops contain purely cosmetics. They contain skins for your characters, skins for the guns, emotes for after you've finished. There is nothing in there that will change the game. You can't unlock weapons through it. It's purely cosmetic. That to me is a perfectly fine and acceptable microtransaction system. So I don't have anything against Black Ops for doing it, but I do think it's a little bit shady that they decided to do that late after the release. It's almost like to lure you in to say, look, we're not going to charge you to play this game, and bam, you've bought the game, there's a way of you spending money. And a lot of people give in to sort of the gambling mentality. You know, maybe I'll just buy one more crate, it might have that skin in there that I need, maybe I'll spend a little bit more. Which I don't completely agree with, but at least you can't pay to win, which is a perfectly agreeable microtransaction system in my opinion. And finally, the game that you know none of us have any love for, Destiny. They've now added to their microtransaction catalog, I guess, a feature where you can pay £20 and instantly maximum level boost your character. So it's kind of like you've bought the game, now you can pay them more money to skip the game so you don't have to do any of it, and you can instantly get to the end game content. Now I can understand some people may think, you know, I've already played the game once, I don't want to go through it again, but I want a different character at the end game. Okay, you know, I can see the argument for it, but it's kind of like, why do you want to pay out for max level to skip the game that you bought? It's fairly easy to level up in Destiny, and they're going to charge 20 quid to just do that for you. I mean, it's similar to World of Warcraft. They've had for ages a system where you can pay them an extra 40 quid and they'll max level your character. I remember when I first started playing games and I was playing sort of online RPGs and that, it would be in the towns, you'd see, you know, shady guys would message you and say, look, you know, send me some money through PayPal and I'll power level your character for you, it'll be ready in 5 days. And people would get banned for doing it. And people would do it. They'd power level, they'd get their characters skipped for them, and they'd get banned. Where now all of a sudden the companies have realized, actually, we can make some money from this. We'll instantaneously level you, and you can pay us for it. And I think that's shady business, extremely shady business. But unfortunately, that's all the news we've got this week. I'm really sorry that it is a short video, but I wanted to get something out for you guys. Even though I'm on my own, I really wanted to make sure there's something out on time for you guys, and you've all got something to enjoy. Because we are extremely grateful for all of you that have stuck with us from the beginning. The guys that have come along and started new, you know, if you're new to the pod, welcome. Flick through the videos, even if you don't, you know, watch them start to finish. Have a flick through. You might find some interesting stuff in there. Please do, if you've liked the video, hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe to the Old Gem podcast. We are going to make sure to get an episode uploaded every week without fail. Whether or not there's going to be all three of us there or just one of us, we'll make sure that there is always a video with the latest news and content of all the upcoming games, any old stuff. We ask each other a lot of questions about the past and history, you know, our own personal histories with gaming, so you can learn about the sort of people we are. Do check out David Stratton's channel, also known as NUFC Shifty, I think. He's probably going to beat me because I've probably got it wrong. But check him out. I'll make sure the link to his channel is in the description below. Also check out Mather's channel, which is the Mr. Mather, I think. Again, I'm probably getting this horribly wrong, but I will make sure his channel is in the description below as well. And please do check out mine. I'm Blightling. I'll make sure that's in the description. And thank you all for joining us today. Again, I'm sorry for this short video, but hopefully you've all enjoyed it anyway. And come back next week and we'll have another video uploaded for you. Thanks a lot, guys.